Hi everybody, my name is Isabella Hansen, and this is how I went to prom as a neurodivergent Christian homeschooled girl. Am I forgetting anything? I don't know. Basically, let me give you some backstory first. I used to go to a private Christian school, and I had to leave after one semester because I was basically teaching the Bible class, and that just wasn't very sustainable. I got pretty burnt out after just one semester because I felt like I was the one doing all the research for basically teaching the Bible class. The teacher would, a student would ask a question, and then I would raise my hand and be like, teacher, can I answer? And then the teacher would just almost always just let me answer the question. Like, it was never, no, I know this answer better than you do. He never actually corrected anybody and told them that they were wrong. He was always like, well, that's one point of view, but our point of view is this. He never actually presented anything as fact, which is a major problem when you're teaching a Bible class. So anyway, long story short, teaching a Bible class is not really a good idea for a freshman girl to be doing, especially when everybody else in her class thinks very differently than her. So I got burnt out from that, and from a few other things. Didn't know at the time that was probably linked to being neurodivergent. I haven't really known that until very recently when I started seeing more stuff online, and I'm obviously getting very distracted by my hair, which still has a bunch of hairspray in it from prom. I'm recording this the day after. Anyway, tangent. So I started watching some videos on the internet, and I was like, oh, okay, this is really interesting. I'm interested in psychology. I like hearing what these people who are neurodivergent have to say. And then the longer I listened, I was like, wait, is that me? Yes, it is me. It is me, unfortunately. I am one of those girls. I don't have a diagnosis yet. In order to ask for a diagnosis, I have to log into my local medical provider's app. In order to do that, I have to make a phone call. So you see how this is kind of like a catch-22 situation. I don't want to make a phone call because I am possibly autistic, but I can't get confirmation that I'm autistic unless I make the phone call. Anyway, all that to say, that's just a brief overview of who I am and some background of what I'm about to explain. So, I had a friend reach out to me asking me if I would like to go to prom with his group. Okay, I am not dating anybody. Happily single right now. I'm extremely picky about who I date, because I never got how girls would get into a relationship and then just be absolutely miserable, and it's like, you didn't screen him first? I don't know. I understand the idea that you don't want to be friends with the guy first, because then it's hard to get out of the friend zone, but to me, it's like, I would rather have difficulty getting out of the friend zone than possibly have a really traumatic experience with a guy, but that's just my personal opinion. Anyway, friend asked me, who is just a friend, and I went with him and his group, which was a lot of fun. We went to the local state capitol building and took photos there, and then we went to dinner at Olive Garden, which was fun, and we talked about a bunch of things that are not at all prom-related and definitely not normal people things, which I enjoyed very much. We talked about, which method of the death penalty we would most prefer if we were to be executed. So that was actually kind of fun. Yeah. What else did we talk about? We talked about other things too. And then and then the guy's parents came and picked us up from there. and took us to the actual dance, which was at a golf course resort thing. And it's a small Christian school, so there weren't a ton of people there. It was junior and senior. So basically a bunch of people in a room. We actually got there early, which was so nice, because then we could kind of like, I could kind of like get a feel for what the layout of the place was like, and figure out where would be the best places to go, and figure out the noise level of the music. It did get louder and louder as the night went on. Maybe that was just my perception, but it did kind of seem like that was like not just my perception, but actual fact. My ears are pretty sensitive. So anyway, yeah, we got there early. We were able to scout it out and like see what we were doing and whatnot, and it was pretty good, honestly. There was the main room, which had a few tables here and there, and then there was a dance floor, and then the guy who was doing like the DJ stuff, I guess. And then there was a connecting room that was like, we called it the introvert room, and it was like, there was like a gigantic doorway connecting the two rooms, and that was kind of the room where they were serving like a ton of brownies and cookies and lemonade and like Shirley Temples for all the kids who wanted them. So that was fun, and there was a good amount of adult supervision, so that was nice. And then my friend actually has asthma, and when the dance actually started, there was a bunch of like fog and lights going on, and he was like, that fog is not good for my asthma, so I'd like to mostly stay in the introvert room. And I was like, that sounds perfect, because fog and lights isn't very conducive to my personal needs either. So I definitely enjoyed staying in the introvert room most of the time. I did almost no dancing. I did some slow dancing with him, because why not? And also for some reason the music was like audibly quieter when it was slow dances, maybe because it was supposed to be more like calm and peaceful. And we were less likely to get like hit or bumped into or whatever. So that was fun. Yeah. I was very excited about my dress. Not to brag, but I think it was one of the better ones there. Most of the girls, maybe not most, maybe about half of the girls there were wearing like the generic 2025, 2026 prom dress. You know, the like, I'll put up a couple pictures. Basically some variation of this dress. Which is fine. Like, if you like that dress, that's fine. I'm not being judgmental. But, I like to stand out fashion-wise. I'm always overdressed. I was wearing my mom's wedding petticoat under my dress. That was a lot of fun. And I also had this, like, fur shawl thingy. You know what? Let me just grab it. Oh, shoot! I have a mannequin that's holding up my dress right now, and I almost dragged the mannequin along with me. But this thing, which I got at a fabric sale, and if I'm remembering correctly, that was the year that I got a bunch of stuff for free because I volunteered. 4-H fabric sale. Anywho, so yeah, that was a lot of fun too. It was kind of hard to walk in, but it was so worth it. I felt like Cinderella, and if you saw the transition videos, or like the different videos of me in my dress, yeah, it was super Cinderella, which is awesome. My hair was like super tight pulled back, which, fun fact, wasn't that bad because I had done ballet before, and depending on where I went, they were more strict or lax about the hair dress code. But when I was little, I went to this one place where it had to be like super tight pulled back the whole time, and every class. So I kind of am surprisingly okay with having my hair pulled back. Like, it's not comfortable, and I don't really enjoy it too much, but for special events, I can tolerate it. because I think I had that experience when I was younger, trying to like get used to having my hair dragged backwards, which is now why my hair looks like this, because I haven't showered since prom, and the hairspray is still in it, because it was yesterday. Okay, so basically my advice, if you are somebody like me, would be, if you're homeschooled, connect with a local school. Sorry. Connect with a local school. I'm pretty sure most public schools are required to allow homeschoolers to participate in their dances. I don't know that for a fact, so you might want to check with your local school. But those are an option if you don't have a local private school. I would recommend going to a private school dance over a public school dance, because they're probably going to be more enforcing of like rules like dress code and appropriate dancing and stuff like that. Depends on the school, but generally they'll be more high quality as far as keeping people accountable. And I know that most homeschool kids are at least slightly similar to me, in that we are more on the conservative side as far as the way we conduct our behavior. So that I would recommend looking into seeing if your local private school is open to homeschoolers participating in the dances. So that would be my advice for just getting into the dance. And then for shopping for your clothes, I would say pick out whatever is not only beautiful on you, but also comfortable. If it's not comfortable, you're going to be miserable the whole time. I actually picked something that normally, I don't know if I would be, like, I'm genuinely surprised that it wasn't a sensory problem for me. But it was a little bit rough because it was, lace, lace-ish, like lace embroidery stuff, but it didn't really bother me that much. And I honestly think that some of the sensory stuff from the dress might have helped balance out the sensory stuff in the room, because having sensory input from the dress that I chose kind of helped counteract, I guess you could say, the crazy sensory stuff in the room, which I had no control over. Oh, you're being weird today. Okay. Anyway. So, yeah, I did post a video of the dresses that my mom and I looked at when we went shopping for a dress. And we actually went to a variety of different places. We went thrift shopping first for a dress, and there was, nothing. There's often nothing. I have found fancy dresses at thrift stores. And I have actually bought fancy dresses at thrift stores, so I might eventually do a video where I'm like, guess if this is thrifted or new, guess if this is thrifted or new. Spoiler alert, it's going to be mostly thrifted. Thrifted or hand-me-downs or whatever. But we did actually wind up purchasing my dress from the mall. It was a couple $100s. We did get it for less than $500. If you're spending more than $500 on your dress, girl, you don't need to do that. I assure you, you can find a dress that you will like for less than $500. And I am not one of those people who's going to be super shaming you for getting an expensive dress, because I understand that, like, quality costs money, and having quality labor that isn't exploitative also costs money. Unfortunately, I do buy things from Amazon because I can't boycott everything, and I can't afford to boycott Amazon, honestly, at this point. Maybe if, I actually have more money one day, maybe I will be able to only purchase from less exploitative sources, but just for now, unfortunately, I still purchase from Amazon. I'm getting distracted by my horrible hair. Okay, anyway, you could get your dress from Amazon if you don't have like a conscious problem about that. Conscience problem about that. I do have a dress from Amazon that I wore to my local pregnancy center gala. That's like a fundraiser gala that they do. And that was great, but that was more of like a sitting dress than a standing dress. Oh, that reminds me. Dresses with a slit are not as easy to walk in as you think they are. Because then the dress just wants to part at the slit, and then it's just slit. Just controlling the entire flow of the dress. And, I mean, if you like slits in your dress, no judgment, but like, I don't know, for modesty reasons and for movement reasons, I just really prefer to have something that's big and flowy. And a petticoat will actually lift the dress so it's easier to walk in. So that would be an idea that you could use if you have a dress that is made in such a way to where you can put a petticoat under it. Which is a good idea. Anyway, can you see that I'm also hoping to get an ADHD diagnosis, because this video has been really chaotic. But I'm hoping it will help you, and I'm hoping that if you have ADHD too, my rambling ranting will be relatable to you instead of just like a chaotic mess, which is how I feel like it is right now. Okay, for actually at the dance, I would recommend scoping out a place. Well, okay, first getting there early, like I did, which was not intentional, but a good idea. Getting there early is a good idea, and then you can kind of scope out the place. Very important to know where would be a safe place for you to be. Be aware of the exits, be aware of the places where you can step out to maybe have a moment to yourself, have a bit of quiet without everybody being like, what's she doing? Is she doing something sketchy? So that's just something that you might want to keep in mind. Figure out where the chaperones are, just because that might help as well. Keeping an eye on them and knowing where they are so that they can maybe help you if you need it. And then bringing headphones. I did bring my headphones. They're all the way over there, so I'm not going to get them and show them to you. I did not put them on one time. But I'm very glad I did bring them, because I did consider putting them on. Because my friend date, had asthma, we mostly stayed in the introvert room. Also because he's also an introvert. So it wasn't super loud in there. We could still hear the music pretty well. And we still had to talk a little louder in order to hear each other. And the other people we were talking to from the group. But we could still hear each other talking, and we could still hear each other's thoughts, so I didn't need the headphones. And even in the few minutes where we did go in the actual room with the rest of the prom people, I still didn't need the headphones because we weren't in there for very long, and I was pleasantly surprised that the DJ didn't make it too loud, but that's rare. Be aware, that is rare. Most school dances, like the first two that I went to in freshman year when I was still going to that private school, very loud, flashing lights, loud music. The first one, you could not even leave, because then you'd have to, you couldn't even leave without having to go back in through the entrance, and like, you basically had one room that you had to stay in as long as you were at the dance. And that wasn't good. I don't know why they did that. Maybe just to keep all the kids in one spot and to help with, like, management and stuff. I don't know. But yeah, that's what it was the first time. Hopefully it won't be like that for you, because that's kind of a nightmare. But, anyway, definitely, yeah, bring the headphones, even if you don't use them. And I would recommend bringing a purse that you can put the headphones in, And also knowing where you're going to put your purse, having a safe space for that. I just chucked mine under a table and it was fine. But if you're going to a public school dance, you might want to find a more secure spot for it. Oh, give yourself plenty of time to get ready before. I almost ran out of time. I didn't, but I almost did. My nails took longer than I expected because they're a particular kind of like gel nail sticker that I'd never done before. So I just bought the nails and tried them out for the first time. And I just bought the nail oven thing for the first time. And I didn't even know if it was going to work because it was one of the cheaper ones. It did work. I just had to figure out how. So if you're doing that, probably don't do that, actually, because that wasn't the best move. But if you do that, just make sure that you have plenty of time to prepare. I think I got ready in 3 or 4 hours. I spent 3 or 4 hours getting ready. So, yeah, you're going to want to have that extra time for a buffer, especially if you're somebody with like ADHD who has trouble focusing and you go on like little tangents where like your mind is wandering and then suddenly it's been 30 minutes and you don't even know what happened. Yeah, definitely have that time. Or if like you're autistic and you're feeling yourself getting overwhelmed before the thing even starts, and you need to just like take a break to calm down and think, okay, this is a good thing. I want to do this. I chose to do this. Make sure you leave yourself that extra time if you are neurodivergent. I'm trying to remember as much as possible to give advice because I want to benefit other people like me. As for the Christian part, I do think that whether you're a Christian or neurodivergent or a homeschooler or whatever combination of those, the private school is the way to go. Even if it's not Christian, they are generally better policed, like I said before. So, that, and then giving yourself plenty of time, even if you're not neurodivergent, because that'll just hopefully help you. Yeah. Oh, purse, yes. When you're packing your purse, headphones are nice. And then you're also going to want to bring touch-up for your makeup. I didn't use any the entire night. I might have if I felt comfortable with it, I guess. Touching up my makeup. I probably should have touched up my lips after we went to dinner, but I didn't. Which was fine, because we didn't really take a lot of pictures after that. But yeah, I brought lips and eyes to touch up because that's kind of what gets messed up the most or easiest as the time goes on. So definitely bring that, to fix that up. And bring a pen. Just, you never know. Just bring a pen. I also brought a little fidget thingy, which I didn't wind up using. I basically just did this the entire time. Especially when the music was really loud. So yeah. Just tapping my fingers together like that. Okay. And deodorant. I brought deodorant too. Mostly because I have a paranoia that I'm going to need to refresh it, which I didn't. But it might be nice to bring that as well, especially if you know you're going to be out for a while. My friend picked me up at 4, and I got back home at like 9 or 10. So I was out for a pretty long time. it was fine. I do think part of what helped me not get overwhelmed was that we weren't just at the dance the whole time. We did the pictures and the dinner and then the dance. So it wasn't all just dance, dance, dance. So yeah. I think I basically exhausted the topic. I hope this was helpful. I hope this wasn't just a chaotic rambling ranting. It was. But I hope it helped you, and I hope you can maybe get something from this that will benefit you, I guess. If you have any tips or ideas for other people like me that you want to leave in the comments, please do, in case I forgot something. Or maybe something that I probably should have done at the dance, but I didn't because I didn't think of it, because yay. So yeah, basically, just leave that. This is my first long form video for this channel, and I was supposed to have a microphone, but then last night Amazon was like, it's going to be here today. And then this morning it was like, it's going to be there tomorrow. So, either I misinterpreted Amazon or it lied to me. Go figure. It's probably a mix of both. Anyway, so yeah. Bye.